So welcome to this series of biology revision as we look at the 2025. So this is the 2025 GCE, paper 2, and I'll be looking at a few sample questions so that you can see what you needed to, to do. So of course, question number 1 there says figure 1 shows, a palisade cell observed under a light microscope. So this is the one they have shown us. So remember, this is a plant cell. It says A, identify the part labeled A, B, and C. So A is representing the cell wall. Okay, so that's what you needed to do. And B is representing the vacuole. And C is representing the chloroplast. So that is what it is representing. So those are parts that they wanted you to identify. Then B there says explain the functions of the part labeled A in figure 1. Obviously it was supposed to be explain the function because they have just given you 1 mark there. So now when we look at the function of the part labeled A, we know the part labeled A is simply the cell wall. So what is the function that it does? Well, for one thing, you need to remember that the cell wall actually we can say provides structural, so it actually provides structural support. It provides structural support to the cell. So 1, it actually provides structural support to the cell. 2, I can also say that it helps maintain, so it actually helps to maintain the shape of the cell wall. So it actually helps to maintain the shape of just the cell. That is what we can say. Of course, there are so many other things that I could have actually talked about here. For example, I could have also said maybe number 3 that it acts as a protective barrier, or if you want, it allows water and solids to pass through freely. So that is what we can say. So I can say it allows water and solids to pass through freely. So that's the idea that you need to remember about the cell. Of course, you need to remember the functions of all these other parts. For example, the vacuole can also help to maintain can actually also help to maintain the shape of the cell, depending on whether there's too much content solution inside of the cell sap. Right, so it can also control the entry of materials into and out of the cell depending on the concentration that it has. Then for the chloroplast there, it is actually a site for photosynthesis in plants. See there says give 2 differences between the cell in figure 1 and the one found in the human trachea. All right, so this is a palisade cell. This is actually what we are calling as being a plant cell, and those that are found in the human trachea are simply animal cells. So that is one of the differences that you can talk about, but it says give 2 differences between. So obviously when it comes to the differences, I can simply say that the palisade cells have a cell wall, while the tracheal, because they are found in the trachea, so the tracheal cells do not have a cell wall. So that is what you need to remember. Another difference maybe that I can talk about, I can simply say the palisade cells contain chloroplast, because remember they are found in a plant cell, while the tracheal cells do not contain chloroplast. So that is what you need to remember. Of course, when it comes to the figure here, this shows a plant cell. Then the cells that are found in the human trachea are simply animal cells. That could have been another difference that you could have highlighted. Then D says state the names of any other two organelles that would be seen if the cell in figure 1 was observed under an electron microscope. So remember, an electron microscope is actually a more advanced type of a microscope as compared to a light microscope. So you would see more details using an electron microscope. And some of the things that you could have actually seen are things like ribosomes would have actually appeared. Remember, when it comes to the ribosomes, just to give you an idea, ribosomes is simply a site for protein. It is actually a site for protein synthesis. So the building up of proteins is going to take place in the ribosomes. You would have actually seen that. Then you would have also possibly seen what we are calling as being the endoplasmic reticulum. So you'd have actually seen the endoplasmic reticulum. It is possible you'd have actually seen them. Perhaps you would have also seen things like the mitochondrion would have actually appeared in more details. You would have actually seen what we are calling as being the Golgi bodies. They would have actually been more visible in this case. So that is what we mean. But remember, the question was saying only two organelles that they wanted you to talk about. Do you remember the endoplasmic reticulum? Well, these guys, the endoplasmic reticulum, are simply involved in transport. Yeah, sometimes transport and synthesis of proteins and lipids, depending on what type of endoplasmic reticulum you are dealing with. Thank you so much. Watch out for question number 2 in my next video.